I see you, Macy Graham. Thank you for joining us, Khalid. Special show for everyone tonight. Very special show and for every special guest as well. Miss Storm, I've not seen you around before. Is that Miss Storm, like the X-Man? Aurora Monroe. Good to have you along anyway, Miss Storm. Good to have you along. Chat today we got Mr. RJ McKenzie. Mr. RJ McKenzie with us. And if you know, you know, because he's an OG. He's been here from, he's what we call a day one. Chat, let me know if you love this track. I love this track. Wiki. Thing is, we're hoping that his internet holds up. Because he keeps cutting in and out right now behind the scenes. Just waiting for things to build a little. And yes, I actually don't know the artist. Yeah. RA, I suspect it's AI. It's part of the it's part of the tracks you can pick up on something called Upbeat. I'm feeling a very gospel mood tonight because of what we're going to be talking about. Okay, RJ's back. And then I left. Okay, cool. I think we're good to go. Um, I was gonna play Pastor Barrett's TL Barrett's Nobody Knows. I don't know. That's the mood I'm feeling in because we are going to church tonight. Yeah, if you know, you know. TL Barrett's Nobody Knows. I've been singing that since the start of the week. I just discovered it. Absolutely beautiful chat. Press one in the chat if you know Pastor TL Barrett's Nobody Knows. Still around, Pastor TL Barrett. Guys, so for the longest of time, hi there, Brian McGee. Hi, Cleveland. Good to see you. For the longest of times, I've been told by my guest that I need to look into saints, the OG saints, the original saints. And as the game goes, you know the name of the game by now. The deeper you dig, the blacker it gets. And it's no different with this either. And on the cursory research that I've done, almost every pivotal church father who has been canonized and made a saint, let's just say they were melanated, and that's on the cursory research I've done. Now RJ has been a listener, a subscriber, I think, one of our the Trill Blacks Trill Nations viewers from day one. I think he's, yeah, I've seen him around since. What's the earliest video I saw him commenting on? But I can't remember now, but he's been around for ages, and he's one of our members on our group on Instagram there, and he's been telling me, look into this. Finally had the time or the courtesy, the decency to actually oblige him. Sorry about that, RJ. But yeah, and when I did, on just a very cursory look, he's right. I don't want to give any spoilers because that's his job tonight, but I'm just gonna say one person's name, and you can see on the thumbnail is, well, if you know, you know. The thumbnail is Saint Maurice. Everyone knows about Saint Maurice. Everybody knows about Saint Maurice, and we also know about the attempted whitewash of Saint Maurice. But it's deeper than Saint Maurice, guys. I'll say Augustine. RJ knows what I'm talking about. That's Augustine, right? If you're a believer and you know your way around the church fathers, the scriptures, theology, Augustine. Now, he was the other option I had for a thumbnail. RJ, I'm just going to let you come on. Here you go. Introduce yourself, brother. I think you're on. Let's have a look.
Hello, everybody. How's everyone doing?
I suspect they're doing well. I'm doing fine.
Hello?
Fine. We can hear you. Chat, press
Can
one.
anyone hear me?
One sec. Can you hear me back, RJ? Go on, RJ. Try again. Say something. Say something.
Yeah, everybody. Yeah, we're...
RJ, can you hear me?
Okay. How's everyone doing? Yes, I can.
Okay, you can hear me.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so it seems like there's a slight delay then, but
yes,
I can hear you.
I can.
Okay, brilliant. Let's go. So, they're saying in the chat they can hear you, RJ.
Yes, I can, but you're going in and out.
Right, I'm going in and
You're
out.
going in and out. I don't
Okay.
know if that's on your end or my end because I
So when you say in and out, bro, do you
can you hear
mean
me,
what my
Trill?
do you mean there's interference sort of?
Ging.
I'm here, RJ. Okay, RJ, I'm gonna
Yeah,
ask you
like
to do
whenever you're speaking, there's
yeah,
like a
yeah.
long pause
Yeah,
and you cut
people are saying
in and
delayed
out.
audio. So I'm gonna kick you out and then you come back in. In fact, actually, no, it's better you leave studio and then come back in. Okay, let's try it that way.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Cool.
bet.
All right. So you see, this is how you know. This is how you know the devil is a liar. You see, I said we're going to church, and all these antics start. The devil is a liar. Anyway, because we're about to expose some demons. Some demons about to be exposed. So, and there's nothing else for it really. There's nothing else to call this attempt to um, erase the contribution of a people just wholesale across the board everywhere you see it, other than to call it demonic. So, if the shoe fits, or is it the hat? All right, let's add you back, RJ. Okay, now unmute yourself.
Hello.
Yes, this is much better. I heard you instantly there. That's good. And you can hear me.
Yes.
Oh, this is beautiful. RJ, introduce yourself and we'll get cracking.
Okay, so hi everybody. For those who don't know me, my name is RJ. I'm a student at the University of Toronto in Canada. So
Don't go don't
I'm a
go too
Canadian.
don't
I'm a
go too
Black
deep.
Canadian,
Good. Don't go
and
too deep,
I
RJ.
major in Okay, okay,
Keep keep
okay.
keep some keep some anonymity.
Yeah. So I love history. Okay. So I do research in Black history. I do art. I like to paint. I like to draw, and I'm a film nerd. So yeah, that's what I like to do. I hang out with Brother Trill and so many others on Instagram, and yeah, we just do research.
Yeah. RJ, there is still some lag, but that's okay. I'm just telling you so that you bear that in mind. So I'm going to allow for time when you speak, in case there's anything else that's coming through, and you just give me the same thing back. So just be aware of that.
I know, I'm aware.
Okay, bro. All right. What I'm what I was saying earlier was very cursorily, I've looked into this issue. And even today, as recently as today, I'm looking up images. I'm looking up St. Augustine. And I'm like, what? There are images I'm finding. The earliest images I'm finding of St. Augustine is a black man. Now I'm thinking, okay. Why would that be? Why would that be? Then I go and look into it. And he was from Africa. I never knew that. For some reason, I never knew that. Um, where do you want to start, RJ?
I think I'll start with the whole concept of what a saint is, because I don't think many people know what a saint is exactly, and particularly people like Saint Augustine, Saint Maurice. They're like, these are people that are heavily revered in Catholic churches, Orthodox spaces, like Eastern Orthodox, like we're talking about like Greek Orthodox, Russian Orthodox, and Oriental Orthodox. So those are churches from, say, the Coptics, like Egypt, Ethiopia, like Syria. So for those who don't know, a saint is a person, a man or a woman that is devoted to God in their lifetime, and they've chosen to live and spread the word of God all throughout their life. And it could be through like preaching, like like a pastor, or in those days it's basically priests, or basically living a monastic life, so a monk life. You are separated from the world, separated from everyday society, and you live isolated in a place that you only focus on God and His Word, and like then of course if God wills that you do miracles, you do signs and wonders. And basically, that's what pretty much a saint is. So it's a person that has lived for Christ all their life. And even when they pass away, in Catholic and Orthodox Christian belief, a saint is in heaven and they continue to pray for believers on earth, right? So even for believers, you can ask for saints in heaven to pray for you. I'll give you an example. Like how the common saying I've heard all my life, and probably you heard from your life too, Brother Trill, of Catholics, and how they say, "Oh, Catholics, pray to Mary," but the word "pray" is actually to ask. And how in Shakespearean language you will hear "I pray thee." It's basically saying, I ask of you, I require of you. So Mary is in heaven praying for a believer because they asked her to pray for her. So that's basically what a saint is and what they do.
Right. I differ with you on that. I think that's been added much later, but that's not really what we're here to debate, because when you read the scriptures, just the black and white scriptures, we're saints. I'm a saint. You're a saint. Paul
Exactly.
and the believers, we address each other as saint, and it just means the original word is just sanctified, set apart. We're set apart unto God, because we've come to believe in Him, and for that reason, He's come into a relationship with us, and so we call each other saints. Now, does that mean we don't mess up? That basically it's just been it's over time it's come to mean something very lofty and whatnot, and that's through the influence of the Catholic and the Orthodox churches. So I'm guessing from what you're saying that you're from that tradition. I'm kind of talking from a Protestant. But all these labels don't really mean anything. I'm just talking from a basic sort of reformed background, non organized sort of high church background. So from my perspective, we don't do saints like that. But from the Orthodox and the Catholic perspective, yes, a saint is someone who's devoted their life on an extraordinary level in during their lifetime to the Lord, and after they pass, the church, you know, does something to elevate them and raise them to the status of sainthood, as it were. So yeah, I get all of that. Okay. Um, let's go with how did you come to start to understand that? Hang on a minute. These people have been whitewashed. When did you start waking up to that?
A good question. So I started waking up to that fact around when I would say, graduating from elementary school, going into high school. So we're going way back here. We're going
Wow.
way back. So my grandfather, he's from Jamaica, and
Mm,
he's the one who told me these stories of Ethiopia and the black figures in the Bible, Queen of Sheba, King Solomon, and the Ark of the Covenant, and all those things. So at the time, it made no sense to me because, growing up and seeing a lot of portraits in movies, like The Passion of the Christ, and even in Sunday school, with your kid depictions of Christ and the disciples, everyone is white, right?
Mm,
And it's like at the time it was so normalized, right? Because it was like, okay, if they're white, they're white. It didn't matter to me because it was the old saying: as long as Jesus' blood was red, it doesn't matter what color he was. So I
mm,
just went with it. And then when my grandfather came and he told me the opposite wise, I was like very shocked. So I did some research and I was amazed the amount of depictions of Christ being of a dark hue, a dark skinned individual,
mm.
was so shocking because I've never seen any of that type of image before. Never. And then, over time, I gradually started looking into like more about Ethiopian Orthodox Church and the Coptic Church and like who are these great individuals, and then figuring out that there are a lot of black saints in these churches, not only that are laid the groundwork for these traditions, but the whole laid out the groundwork for Christianity as a whole. And that blew my mind. It was like, wow, like people who looked like me, who were in the continent, which many people later on, unfortunately, because of colonialism, deemed as the dark continent. There's no civilization. It's all, they all do witchcraft and all that stuff. Really blew my mind. And that's what led me here. To add to the inspiration, it was your talk on St. George and St. Maurice, where it got into my head where it's like, let me, I know there are several saints that are depicted throughout the world as dark skinned and are venerated in Italy, France, Spain. And I said, let me get in on the action. So that's what led me here.
Wow. So your granddad was a real one. That's is he still around?
He's in his 80s, so he's still alive and well. So
Oh
God
wow.
bless him. He was born in a time where the Caribbean was still mostly, well, the English speaking Caribbean islands were still under the British. So he so yeah, all these informations of Black pride, Black Africa, Black Jesus. Oh yeah, came from him, and he got that from his uncles who were talking about these stuff because his uncles were into history. So we have to keep in mind as well, like movements like the Rastafarian movement was on the
My word.
rise,
Now
and
you're talking. Now you're talking. Keep going. Keep going. Sorry.
exactly, the Rastafarian movement was on the rise. We have the Black Panthers in the '60s, so a lot of Black consciousness was starting to come about in the people, and especially particularly in the 60s, because that's when most of these islands were starting to get independence. So way later, so a lot of this awareness started to click in many of the locals, and including my granddad. So yeah.
But do you know what? This is really important. I like what we're talking about tonight because a lot of people have it in their head that um this is the white man's religion, and
Exactly.
it's simply not true. Whatever else your beef with Christianity is, don't lie on it. Don't lie on it. That's my thing. It's like you can't say that. This was a religion that first proliferated, okay? That was um this is a way of life, a belief that the earliest practitioners of, okay, way before the transatlantic slave trade or anything, the earliest practitioners of, in fact, the people who were most influential in its spread all over the world were black folk. That's what I'm realizing from just the little bit of research that you've put me onto in this way. You were mentioning St. George earlier. it stunned me. I was absolutely stunned. I've spoken about this ad nauseum by now. If you follow my lives, every other live, I'll make mention of Saint George. He's the patron saint of England, and
Yep.
when you look into it, it was a black man. He was a black man. There's no other way to square the circle of the images you're seeing. The further back in time, you look, he was a black man. So, can you just touch on that? This idea that people, this misunderstanding that Christianity was forced on the black race. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and this is like a very, like a very like for people in the black community, this is like a sensitive topic to deal with,
It is. It is.
because when it comes to Christianity and the black folks, many people tend to forget, sadly, that Christianity. Well, let's start with like the land of Palestine, right? I'm not trying to get political here, but let's start with that land, Palestine. Many people don't realize that it's technically, geographically speaking, on the African continent,
Mm, mm,
right? And many people said it's on the African tectonic plate.
mm-hmm,
And the only reason why we don't include Palestine as being part of the African continent, and this is what to be said about the rest of North Africa, is because culturally it's quote unquote Middle Eastern. And we
mm,
don't tend to associate Middle Eastern culture with blackness,
mm-hmm.
right? And also with modern geography, because the Sinai, I think it's the Sinai Canal that cut through the Sinai Peninsula. So,
Mm,
and it got detached from Egypt, right? And so,
yeah.
geographically speaking, it's on the African continent. And also, too, culturally speaking as well, like the people of Israel, the Hebrews, were very integrated with the Egyptians and the people of like of Nubia and so forth. Joseph's sons, Ephraim and Manasseh.
Talk to
Um,
me.
yeah, Ephraim and Manasseh. Their mom was an Egyptian woman, and they're the two tribes of Israel. One of the two tribes of Israel. How crazy is that, right? I'll give you another example. Hagar, Abraham's, I guess, the one that gave birth to Ishmael, who, according to Muslims, is the father of all Arabs. So a black Egyptian woman gave birth to all Muslims, all Arabs, I should say, because if that wasn't the case, why do we have old photos of dark-skinned Arabs that look like me and you? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. Um, okay, I'm gonna show on the screen. Maybe we can start with this saint. I know you got stuff to present, but I
Yeah,
just want to
man.
do a quick demonstration for people. Because whilst you were speaking there, um, I thought actually, let's do it. Let me show a quick demonstration of what I mean by just on a cursory look. That you know, if you decide to take some of the stuff that channels like myself, if you just give it 5 minutes thought and 5 minutes deeper non-surface level research, this is what you get. So that I'm just going to demonstrate that. So on the screen right now, um, this is Saint Augustine. This is a popular image of Saint Augustine. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
no, that's no big deal. No big deal. Everybody thinks, yeah, of course, yeah, Christianity, white man's religion, all that crap. All right, let's keep going. Oh, this is just okay. All right. All right, nothing to see here. Yes, Saint Augustine. That's a that's a stained glass, right? Okay, cool, cool, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go. Let's keep going. All right. Okay, Saint Augustine again. Look at him, looking all white and pale and whatnot there, even though he's supposed to be from Africa and the son of a Berber woman back in the times when Berber meant black. We've been through that before. Okay. Oh shoot, what's this? What's this? What's this? Actual images closer to the time. Okay. Oh, you might be saying, come on, that's not black though. That's really not black. Okay, okay. You need to, I'd say you need to travel a bit more, but whatever. Um, oh, oh. Well, I mean, you might still want to argue. You might still want to argue, but it sure ain't this. It sure ain't this. Okay, it sure isn't that. Early representation. I think this goes back to the Middle Ages, sometime in the Middle Ages. This image, maybe you're coming to the early modern period. This image right now. Okay, that's certainly not the first three images that look. Listen, this. Okay, I've got mixed family who are half and half. Okay, this is how they're looking in their old age. I've got mixed relatives who look like this in their old age. Okay, okay. You might say, fine, I don't really see it. Fine, I can. You're still not black. You might want to be nitpicking now. Look at this. Look at this guy. Do you know who Craig David is, RJ? RJ, you there? Oh, it looks like he's gone. Oh no.
Yes, I'm
RJ,
here.
oh, cool. Do you know who Craig David is?
Craig David. I don't think
Craig
I've heard
David.
of him.
That's all right. You probably, I'm probably showing my age there, but and you're not in the UK. So Craig David, chat. Let me know if you know Craig David. Let me know if you know Craig David. Bow Selector. No, not the Bow Selector. Not the Bow Selector variation. But yes, Craig David. This is exactly who we're talking about. Craig David is a. Let me show you a picture of Craig David quickly. Let me share a screen with people. Craig David is a black Brit. He's a musician in the UK. Let me show you what I'm talking about when I say Craig David, guys, so that you can know that. I'm just. And so my point in showing Craig David right now is that if Craig David if there was an APB put out on Craig David, if the cops were on the lookout for Craig David, it's blackmail. That's the report that's going through onto the radios. Okay, it's blackmail, wanted, all of that jazz. So we would not be quibbling. Let me quickly show you what I mean. Okay, right. Take this one off. Stop screen. And just in case, there we go. Look at Craig David, guys. Look at Craig David. You see what I mean? You see what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Now, Craig David is obviously a mixed man himself. Okay, he's obviously of mixed heritage himself, but no one would quibble. Okay, that's not. This is not. If it didn't matter, if you didn't think this man that you're looking at right now, okay, Augustine is the church father, the preeminent church father. Okay, after Paul, from in the scriptures, Saint Augustine is the dude. Okay, there's so much. Now, if it didn't matter to anybody, why change Craig David, black looking self, to this dude? Why? If it never mattered, if you didn't think Craig David looked decidedly too close to them N-words that you hate so much, why would you change him to this? Why? You wouldn't.
Exactly.
You wouldn't. So let's quit the corp. Sorry, RJ, go on. Over to you, Saint Augustine.
Yeah, as you said, second to Paul, yeah, Saint Augustine is the most quoted church father in the history of Christianity. His work is very inspired by many people. Yeah, this man is a Berber man, a black Berber man, and many people, and I know people already are going to say, oh, the Berbers didn't look like that. But we know that's a lie. I could pull up black Berbers from the 19th century and who look dark already. So, and even there, it's like we can show the rock art of North Africans, and they got afros and black features. So there you go. And so, yeah, man.
Okay, you got some stuff you wanted to present tonight. Do you wanna put that up and I'll allow it onto the screen?
Yes.
Go on, you.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
Okay, share screen. Okay.
I'll just read some of the comments.
Okay.
Espresso macchiato, that's a great name.
Let's
He says,
let's do this.
Black man 100, 100, 100. Yeah, yeah. Blue man visions, you know, you know. Um, rewind when the crowd say both selector. Okay, I got some
Okay.
OGs in the house.
Slowly.
Okay. Alfarius Knox, nice to see you, brother. Nice to see you. He says, I was just about to nitpick. That one looks like me, though. Lol. Oh, that's interesting. That's good. That's good. But this is the thing. You we end up doing half their work for them because we ourselves can't believe that you would just lie outright about this stuff. We can't believe how far away now. Oh, okay, RJ, you need to come back. If you're listening, you need to come back in. I think your the present when you try to present, it might be linked to that, because when we were practicing before we came on, every time you tried to present, um it would do this as well. So we'll try just one more time or twice if we need to. And if it's your stuff, okay, here we go. He's back. He's back. Okay, so RJ, try and do that again, okay? You might need to unmute. Yeah, here we go.
Okay, I'm back
All right, so
again.
try and do that again. I don't know why it keeps doing.
Okay.
We will overcome. We shall overcome, bro. So try and do that again, and I'll just carry on my
Exactly,
little
man.
riff. So we can't get over. We can't begin to understand the level of psychopathy when it comes to whitewashing, specifically black people, out of history. We just can't. We've only started to scratch the surface. I know there are people who think that there's an FBB thing going on right now, foundational Black British folk as well. Now, I kind of used to laugh at that, but at this stage, my only thing against that is I've not done the research, and I have to call me a doubter, call me doubting Thomas, okay? But I have to do my own research, and you wouldn't have it any other way, guys. Okay, you wouldn't follow me, you wouldn't subscribe to the channel if I was just some guy who didn't do his research and was just putting out any old thing. Okay, I try my best when I can I try to make this academic, guys. I put citations in the descriptions whenever I can. If I'm not rushing to get a video out and it's not been a long week with work and everything, family, I try to put all my citations in the descriptions. Okay, so that's my only issue with FBB, is that I have not done the research, and I doubt it. I doubt that everyone and sundry in the British House was a black person before World War One, and they just washed everything away. That sounds ridiculous to me. But having said that, I wouldn't be shocked. It's not as ridiculous now that far more than I first thought when I started doing this has been taken up as been whitewashed. It's not as ridiculous to me. Let me add this to stage. All right, RJ, I don't really want to say it. What you need to do is present the Google image. So the tab, the tab where you had the Google search on. if you're going to be presenting from there, because we don't really want people seeing the how the sausage is made in the background. You don't want them seeing the
Pardon me. Say it again.
So right now, what you've got on stage is the studio screen. I don't want the studio screen. We want your presentation page. Hello, you there?
Okay.
Yes, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. That's better. That's more like, here we go. Coolio. Right, Mr. RJ McKenzie, over to you. What are we looking at? For over 2,000 plus years. Yes. Yes, we've been attacked for over 2,000 plus years. I believe it too. I believe it too. You need to go back, bro. Yeah, that's it. We're on the right page. We can see that page. That's the one we want to be looking at. RJ, you there? I don't know what's going on right now. I'll just read some of these comments out. RJ, we're waiting on you, bro. We had the page up. We
Okay.
had the page up, and then we couldn't really hear your voice anymore.
Okay.
So just put that page with the
Let me
with the Sacred Heart
Google
Jesus
this
on us.
again.
Okay. Macy Graham says the Goths and Vandals overran Europe right before the so-called Renaissance period. During that time, they performed iconoclasm. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. No lies detected. No lies detected. Okay, here we go again. Right.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you, and we can also see what's on the screen. What's on your screen?
Awesome. So my presentation is called the whitewashing of Black saints, and obviously we see the image of a white Jesus in the Russian style. So yeah, here we go. Okay. So we already covered what a saint is, basically. So I can skip this slide, but as you can see, there are many icons of the church fathers and some of the early saints on the bottom right corner. And so we have tons of Black saints. This is more of a modern depiction of Black saints from the church. So yeah, but we'll get started. Can you still hear me, Brother Trill? Can you still hear me?
Loud and clear, bro. Loud and clear.
Awesome. So we're gonna start by discussing, as we mentioned, Paul. That's the first person that we're gonna start. So for those who don't know, St. Paul was formerly called Saul. He was a missionary, went to places like Turkey, Greece, Athens, Rome. He got martyred in Rome. He went to so many places in the New Testament, and he wrote a third of the New Testament called epistles or letters. So after planting different churches, wherever he went, he wrote letters to those churches and to like help them, teach them more about the faith, more about who Christ was, and to correct them as well, because there are certain, sometimes in his epistles he will criticize some of the practices and behaviors of some of these churches, and most of them are around modern day Greece and Turkey. So, and by the way, Paul is from Turkey as well. He's a Jew from Turkey. So that will be something. He was formerly a Pharisee. So a Pharisee was basically a member of a group of elites, Jewish elites, who who prioritized tradition, prioritized scripture very literally, to the point where it became a burden to so many people. If you read the Gospels, Jesus was not a fan of the Pharisees. He criticized them a lot
They killed him.
because
They
they were
killed him,
making.
didn't they?
Exactly. They teamed up with Rome, with Pilate, and they crucified him because they thought he was blaspheming, right? And so Paul was used to be a member of that group of people until until Jesus, according to Acts 9, showed himself to Paul on the road to Damascus, and that's where he had a conversion. So now for the description of Paul. So what did Paul look like? And many people, even I myself, have asked this question. And though most of the Acts of the Apostles does not give a huge description of what Paul may have looked like, there is one passage in the book of Acts, that may help us know what he looked like. So I'm going to read. So by the way, everybody, it's going to be a mix of reading from books and scripture and showing different historical images. So just keep in mind. So we're going to start by reading. I'm going to start reading by Acts chapter 21, verse 38 to 39. So and then I will clarify as we get into it. So it says, "Aren't you the Egyptian who led a rebellion some time ago and took 4,000 members of the assassins out into the desert?" So this is basically a Roman commander talking to Paul. Basically, he's asking a question here. This Roman commander is asking Paul. And Paul is going to say, "No, I am a Jew and a citizen of Tarsus in Cilicia." Yeah, that's in Turkey, modern day Turkey, which is an important city. Please let me talk to these people. So, right there, at the very beginning, someone is mistaking Paul, a Jew, an Israelite, for being an Egyptian. Why? And this is where, as you see this highlighted image on to your right, it matters. So this is the context. So basically, what was going on at that time? There was this Egyptian man who claimed to be a prophet, and he was outed to be a false prophet. And he had a group of members who were committing these vast, crazy rebellions across the place, and Rome had to get involved and shut this whole movement down. And so basically, what we know of this account is from a Jewish historian, Flavius Josephus. So he's an historian and he's like someone who can verify these gospel accounts and because he lived at the same time of Jesus and the disciples. So this is from what he wrote about this whole Egyptian fellow.
So you're saying Flavius Josephus actually explained this account? I've never come across this. I'm a big fan of Flavius Josephus's writings.
Yeah, I came across this as I was preparing for this this whole slide, because I was curious, who is this? What Egyptian is this Roman commander referring to Paul to? Right? What is this whole thing about the Egyptian thing? So yeah.
So what is it? What is it about Paul? Because we're not talking about Paul. For this guy to say, "Aren't you an Egyptian?" What's going on there? What's the implication? Just lay it out, break it out exactly what the assumption is there for people whose heads this might fly over.
It's basically his appearance. It's basically this Roman commander is looking at Paul, and he's seeing most likely a dark-skinned, curly-haired man, a curly-haired Jew, a dark skin, and in Roman gear. Because keep in mind, Paul is a Roman citizen. So, and at the time, and I will get into images later. a Roman will look at an Egyptian and they'll depict the Egyptians as black. So there's that account of that of appearance. This, and it's not just Paul.
We have countless examples of that. They keep finding. See, this is the thing, right? Chat, listen to this. Listen to this and tell me if it makes sense. On the one hand, these people will say Rome had no access like that to Africa beyond Egypt. They didn't know nothing about these Africans. Africans couldn't cross the Sahara. It was really very remote, secluded part of the world to them. They knew very little. On the other hand, they'll say, whenever you see a black face discovered in Alexandria or sculpted, and you'll find them excavated in Rome and there's plenty of them. You only have to do this for 2 seconds, what me and RJ do. There's plenty of these artifacts from 2000, from the 1st century, the 2nd century AD, the 1st century BC, 2nd century. There's plenty of these. What they'll then say is Ethiopian head. But I thought you said I thought you said the Romans weren't checking for us like that. So if the Hellenistic world's main contact with Africa, okay, was Egypt, at a time when they're writing and describing the Egyptians as black-skinned and woolly-haired, what you try to change to dark skin, but you fail because the Romans accompany dark skin with woolly hair, and a lot of time with thin calves, spindly calves, thick lips, broad nose. So yeah. retarded. Obviously, we're looking at a black person. So every time they describe these Egyptians, they're describing them like you would a black person. So okay, fine. The Romans have contact mainly with Africa through Egypt. These heads are popping up that are black heads all over the Hellenistic world, and all of a sudden the narrative changes. All of a sudden the narrative now becomes this is obviously an Ethiopian head, and if they're feeling particularly sadistic, they'll say a slave.
There so make it
make sense. Which is it? Did they know anything about Africa, or did they know very little? And what they knew was from Egypt, and the Egyptians way back then were presenting like Africans, like black people for the most part. Which is it? Which is it, guys? I think I know which one it is. Okay, so you're looking at this passage from the scripture where a person is recognizing Paul and saying, you're an Egyptian, which means a couple of things this tells me, but the chief thing this tells me, RJ, is that back then, where I'm thinking, we even think of Afar and Oromo people now when we think of the ancient Egyptians, properly speaking, when our heads screwed on. But I'm thinking now, I wouldn't even be surprised that we're talking really dark-skinned people, like people from the Congo now, people from Uganda now. Okay, so because people that present like the Afar and the Oromo, a lot of those were the majority in the Levant, even back then. So for you to be recognizing that this person is an Egyptian, I'm even thinking darker than the Afar and the Oromo. Do you know what I mean? The Habesha. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Exactly. And it's so laughable when they tie themselves like pretzels to come to try to distance themselves and try to distance Paul from blackness. And the funny thing is, this has always been the funny thing for me, when they say, oh, Paul or Jesus was not black, he was Middle Eastern. Okay, my question is, what is a Middle Eastern person supposed to be like? Oh, I get it. Oh, they mean, the pale skin, caramel looking type of people you see on the news, right? But fail to realize, if they'll look at the older photos from the 19th to early 20th century, you see like dark skin, like jet black Arabs, jet black people from the Levant, right? And so, and also, and this is where leads me to the next image. Next slide is, so basically, on the right, I want to focus on the right before I get onto the left image. So on the right is an Egyptian depiction of a quote unquote Asiatic, basically, someone from the Levant, right? And so, but look at the lips already, and look at the hair. You can't tell me Paul didn't look like this, brother Trill. Like, what world am I
So
living
that's
in? What world are we
this is
living
it.
in?
That's
Tell me, brother.
this is this. See, look, the stars, everything's aligning, bro. Because this is exactly what I'm saying. You already had a heavily black presenting population in the Levant. Okay, we've done this before. The original Arabs presented, if they were around today, people in the UK, in places like Minnesota, they'd be called Somalis. Okay, that's what they looked like. But even Somalis, half of them aren't jet black. They can in some contexts pass for an Arab person. So when we're talking that people are recognizing Egyptians as black or dark skin, let's be conservative, dark skin and curly head. They're not even talking about the guy you guys can see on your right side. They're not even talking about that because as RJ is showing, these people, the ones on the right, were a dime a dozen. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. They're nothing to write home about. See, it's blue eyes, blonde hair. It's this warping of history that has made people completely look at these regions in a different light. It's this psychopathic um little man syndrome of the European in the 1800s, the 1700s that has completely changed in league with the Ottoman Turkic Empire that has completely changed our view of the ancient world. Okay, this is base. This is the man on the right hand side is base level understanding of a lot of the people across the Levant of how they would have looked. The guy on the left hand side is your Egyptian. The guy on the left hand side is when you're actually standing on the African continent proper. Okay, because we've read the historical accounts. You can play games all day long with genetic tests. If you don't know that by now, I got nothing for you. Okay, just whatever, move on. Okay, you have people talking, reporting this all day long about how I did a test. I turned up 15 or 25% African or sub-Saharan, whatever, and then I did another test somewhere and I'm 0 point something sub-Saharan. It depends where you go for your tests. The genetic tests, they're driven by agenda. What isn't driven by agenda, what you cannot erase, what you cannot manipulate, unless you're a psychopath, which a lot of these people are, is the accounts of the people who were there at the time, writing constantly, black, curly, kinky hair, jet black, deep brown, mahogany brown. These are the accounts of people all across North Africa. Okay, of the Romans and the Greeks talking about people all across North Africa, and the person on the left is more like your ancient Egyptian than even the person on the right. So I think we're on the same page. I think, sorry, Arj, I've stolen the limelight again, but I get exactly where you're coming from. Am I right?
Yeah, man. Hey, chime in. You know what I'm saying? And and it's so interesting, especially if you read the Old Testament. I mentioned Joseph and his kids, right? Countless times in the Old Testament, there have been several accounts of people, other groups of people that are not Hebrew, that said, "Oh, these Hebrews look like the Egyptians." Moses was mistaken for an Egyptian, right?
Mm,
Like, how does Pharaoh not unalive a baby boy in a basket if he was a black child? Like, certainly, obviously, if Moses was white, yes, he would definitely unalive that child because that would have been a clear sign. But because he was not, then he was able to be raised in Pharaoh's house. Why? Because he looked like everyone like them. So, and by the way, speaking of, we mentioned slaves, right? Like the image on the left here, this is from the Louvre, and it's clearly, of course, a person from the Greco-Roman era. And the funny thing is that they label him as a slave.
Of course they
Like,
do.
do we know if this individual is a slave? Like, how do you know that?
Of course they
Right?
do. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. Right?
Yeah.
It's like,
That's what they, that's that's what you have to expect from these people. That's exactly what they do every time they come across us in the ancient world, and twice on Sunday. This is exactly their modus operandi because it's a sick culture. It's a sick culture that we're dealing with, you know? So yeah,
exactly.
there's the how do you, well, I suppose they'll say, oh, he's holding he's holding what is it there? He's holding a pot of some sort.
Yeah, some lantern or some pot or something. Like, make it make sense. And here's a funny thing. I'm gonna, and I'm not done cooking. So on your left is an image of Septimius Severus, and we know he was a famous emperor and was the one, I think he built Hadrian's Wall or expanded Hadrian's Wall. I cannot,
Mm,
I don't remember. And
mm,
on the right is an image of St. Paul, a Byzantine depiction of St. Paul. So the reason I did this is, how come, and by the way, Sirius is from North Africa as well. I just want to keep that in mind. So one how come later on Paul looks like someone straight out of like Ukraine, and Satirius Severus is depicted like that? Make that make sense.
mhm.
Like, I find it very funny. I find it very, very, very funny. Yeah. So on your right is a white depiction, a whitewashing of Saint Paul. So we're gonna move on and move on to Saint Mark, who, as we know, is famous for writing the second account of the gospel, and is said to be the founder of the Coptic Church in Egypt and the patron saint of Venice, Italy. So I'm going to get into Venice a little bit shortly, but I want to talk about where he's from. So the Bible does not really emphasize where, like, his outer appearance, but I did some research, and he is said to be from Libya. So that's neighboring Egypt, of course. So still in North Africa. And look at this depiction here on the right.
Yeah.
Like, I see a black man. I clearly see a black man. And it's one of the earliest depictions of Mark that we know of. And so, in addition, I wanted to add more justice to where he's from, because
Mm.
on your left, right here, is the ancient depictions of Libyans, right? And keep in mind with the feather in the hair, because it's going to be an important thing in the next slide. But clearly, both of these images look consistent in their depiction. Would you agree, brother Trill?
I'm looking at it and I see exactly where you're coming from. The picture on the right of Mark, I didn't know about uh the legend that he was from Libya, but I'm hearing this for the first time. Um, it makes sense because we don't know that he was an actual Jew. We know that he was a Roman citizen and a doctor, I believe. But yeah, I'm looking at him and I'm thinking, even this depiction looks to have been washed a little bit, because what they tend to do is they clean these things up and in the process of cleaning them, they, they they clean them so well that they just happen to wash the melanin off the. And one of the clues is, if I can't really zoom in. One of the clues to it is that you can kind of see. I don't want to stretch. I don't want to stretch, but I see what you're saying. I do see what you're saying. But certainly with I'm familiar with the depiction on the left hand side of the Libyans. In fact, I'll present something that's very problematic for them, but it's factual. They hide the depictions of the ancient Libyans that look that's problematic, that look like what you might call black folk. They keep them at the bottom, and it's the depictions that come much later. It's the depictions of immigrants to the region, because it is right there on the frontier with the Mediterranean. Um, that they present. I have no problem admitting that that part of Africa, especially right on the coast, you know, has always been a place of interaction with other peoples. We didn't start this. It's you who claim that that continent, which is the home not just of humanity, but black people. It's you who have bitten off more than you can chew, who should dial things back, who should come with a bit more respect when you fix your mouth to say that black people, or quote sub-Saharans, have never been there. It's you who's stealing history. It's you who's whitewashing history. You can't blackwash a continent that is. It's like even with the FBBs, with all of even with the idea that blacks are um indigenous to, as far as I've seen my research, parts of Spain. I wouldn't go I wouldn't go to the lengths of saying that that's the whole story. Like, there were no white people there up until last week. I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't dare do that. I would bite off what I can chew and say there's evidence that black people were, especially on the coast of Europe southwards. Black people were there. So please don't erase them out of history, is what I would say. But what you try to do is you go for all the marbles. It's disgusting. You go for all the marbles so that you can say that you are the kings and queens of everything. And we never did anything, never went anywhere. So it's this. I'm talking about this hypothetical um sicko white supremacist um ideology. Now it's you who has warped things. So yeah, it's a very long answer, sorry bro, but yeah, I see. These are Libyans to your left. This mark on your right is clearly an African man. Clearly he would present as black. If we had a life representation of him, I do agree with that. But I would like to see more evidence on Mark, though, just to knock it out of the park. I will say that. But yeah, I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, I try to dig in to find more about where like more about more Marcus from, but so sadly there's not much written about him. And so the amount of evidence that I can like find was like through like other cultural continuity, like in geography, where he's from, who the people in that area are from. So also there's another Libyan that I know that is from in the Bible. His name is Simon of Cyrene, and
Mhm.
he's the one that is responsible for carrying the cross of Christ, helping Christ carry his cross to Calvary. So yeah, so yeah, so it's crazy, and it's very. What's the right word to describe it? Oh, here's and you can, and this is, you're gonna probably laugh at this, brother Trail and chat. I will call this the Angelica mentality. So for those who are young in this chat, Angelica is a character from the Rugrats, a classic show. And we know, if anyone has grown up with that show, Angelica is a brat, basically, whining of everything, not complaining, not getting what she wants. And so basically, this is what, as you mentioned, Brother Trill, with the whitewashing and taking so many famous figures and not sharing that history with everybody else. And it's truly, it's really a Hollywood deception, I would say. I love movies, right? And to make everybody believe, because most of our information, you see here, most of our information that we get from history is not by books. It's by movies and by
Yep.
TV shows that
Yep.
we see,
Yep.
right? Like, how many of us, like, if I ask people what do they know about the Crusades, they're gonna tell me what they saw in like the famous movie, The Kingdom of Heaven, if you have heard of that movie, right?
Yeah, brilliant film, brilliant movie.
Exactly. How do we know? My first interaction of who the Spartan were was through the movie 300, and that movie is like based on a comic book, right? Like, the Persians didn't look like what they looked like in the movie. King Xerxes didn't look what he looked like in the movie.
Complete trash. But you know what? Not what you're saying, but the movie, complete trash. But you know what we missed out at the time? Any videos, any outcry about the appropriation of Persian culture, the appropriation of the inaccuracy of costumes and characters, and Gerard Butler playing these uh an American Anglo-Saxon type playing these Greek legends and Greek characters. That's what we missed. We didn't have that back then, did we? Did we, RJ?
Yeah, like, there was no outrage for that. There was no outrage for, I didn't hear nobody at the time said, how come there's a Scottish person playing a Greek? Why don't the Greeks play a Greek Spartan? Why don't an Iranian play a Persian? I didn't hear none of that. But when it comes to a dark-skinned, beautiful woman from who's of Kenyan origin, Lupita Nyong'o, shout out to her, play someone in the Odyssey, then it's an outrage. Then all of a sudden, we need Greek actors from Greece. We need historical accuracy.
Thank you. Exactly. Yak Media says, my brother, keep the good work up. What is the name of your intro song? People really liked it. Yeah, I loved it as well. So I'm just gonna type it in the chat for you. Keep an eye out. Thank you so much for your €11 super chat. Many thanks. All right, RJ, carry on. Sorry.
Yeah, so basically that's how most of people in the society get their information from of history. It's from via movies and TV. And because we know in recent times, like late 19th century, 20th century, we have these so-called Egyptologists, thugs, coming into Egypt and trashing and whitewashing everything. Now we have white Egyptians, white Romans, even white Mongolians. Like, John Wayne played Genghis Khan. Like, what? How do you get all the way to China and Mongolia and Japan? Like, it's truly a deception, you know.
Yeah, it is.
So the people on your left here are the Fulani, members of the Fula tribe. And the reason I brought this image up is because there's I mentioned this before, cultural continuity. There's a cultural continuity in the continent of Africa that people don't realize, right? Though these tribes are mostly in West Africa and the North of Africa, but pay attention to the feather on top of the head. And I'm going to go back to the previous slide. Like, look look at this. And guess what? They
Yep.
have the I'm gonna guess a bird can see the cultural continuity
Mm,
of the Fula and
mm,
the ancient Libyans. And because they're nomads, they say in their oral tradition, and I most likely don't agree with them here, that they came from the north, right? Like these are the descendants, in my opinion, of the ancient Libyans, right? That was pushed further south. Even there are even some claims. There are even claims that the Fula have Hebrew ancestry, and I wouldn't be surprised,
mm.
right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. And, and then you have this image of Mark, a modern image of Mark, who looks like someone from
Yeah,
straight
yeah,
out
yeah.
of the UK or some straight out of the
Yeah,
States,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, well,
right?
less said the better. Less said the better.
Right. So, do you want to say anything, Brother Trill?
No, I was saying, I was just said the less said, you were saying who looks like, and I'm saying less said the better. We don't want, we know what he looks like. That's not, that's not, no one in that part of the world at that time looks like that. So, let's just leave it at that.
Exactly. And I mentioned Italy, and I don't have a slide or an image, but I can pull up something right now quickly. So I mentioned Italy, and Venice, and many people forget that Italy was one of those countries that got taken over or by the Moors, and we don't. There's no argument of who the Moors were, and they were a dark skinned
We'll
people.
just, we'll
But
just
Venice,
skip.
particularly, there's one image that stood out to me.
Hmm.
Okay. So I just want to show this quick image, brother.
Go on, you go, bro. You're gone, RJ. You're gone. Wait for you. We will wait. Chat, hit one if this is if you're getting something from this. Hit one. I want to see the ones. I want to see the ones. Yeah, you bet they are. Master Kuma says the power's trying to silence the brother. Someone's trying to. Someone's trying to. I won't put it past them at this stage. I won't put it past them. Thank you, Master Kuma. Hey, Joy. Oh, there we got two Joys. We got Joy and Neely. We might have to. I don't know if this sounds big enough. You guys might have to duel it out. Zion Joy says one. And we got Joy and Neely say, hey, Trill. And is that RJ? Um, yeah, it is RJ. It's the one and only RJ. So yeah. Thank you, chat. Thank you, Macy Graham. Whilst we wait for RJ to join us again, check this out. Check this out. This image on your screen is a Libyan. Yeah, RJ's back now. Sorry, RJ. I was stealing your shine for a bit whilst you were gone. But this image, this is Ramses.
Okay.
Um, putting the you know what, letting the man know, letting the Libyan man know, the Libyan enemy there, letting him know, giving him a beating. Okay, and they know this is a Libyan. I don't read hieroglyphics, but when I first came across this image, it was explained to me on a mainstream site. Okay, that this we're looking at Ramses take it to a Libyan here. Okay, chat, come on, eh? Notwithstanding the washing away they've done there, or as they like to call it, restoration work of the Libyan man's hue. You can see the tan lines they've given the poor guy. But let's ignore that because we know even Ramses, we know even he's washed. Because see, this is the thing, they have to make it make sense. They have to go back retrospectively and do a lot of damage. I think we need to have Dr. Manu Ampimom again, a professor of Egyptology and African studies and a primary researcher of a primary researcher of Nubia, of Kush, of the Sudan, of Sudanic history. He's come on before and he's documented evidence of them, what they will call restoring images, and really they're just making it make sense backwards, retrospectively, going and washing off the deep brown to black that you can see, so that they can carry on this narrative of it's a red person we can see on the walls. They're red, they're tanned North Africans. But you can see this guy here. Look at him. I mean, come on, chat. Come on, chat. I mean, I don't really, do we have to be talking about what what we're looking at here? Do we have to really like describe and make sense of this, what we're looking at here? Anyway, right. No, we don't. All right, stop sharing that. RJ, back to you. Right, you need to present that again.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you shared that out. Yeah, I'm glad that you showed that to Brother Trell, because this is what we're dealing with. This is what we're dealing with, honestly. Okay.
Right, here we go.
Can you see my screen?
Yep, let's go. So,
okay, let's go. So, here's another saint that I want to show. I'm going to present. I don't have his image right now because I want to get to. I'm going to save for the best for last. So of the slide. So Saint Athanasius. So he is one of the early church fathers.
Yes, indeed.
Of Christianity's beliefs. And so Saint Athanasius is another man who is very respected in the church, and because he laid the groundwork on standing on the sacredness of the Eucharist or Holy Communion and baptism, and he defended the divinity of Christ against various heresies, like Nestorianism is a heresy, and Arianism. I'm not too fledged in what these I can't go too much in depth with what these heresies are because I'm not a theologian. Basically, these heresies kind of basically reject the divinity of Christ. So that's basically where I can sum it up. And so basically that's what he was defending. So now many people are wondering, what did he look like? So his enemies called him, and I will give you a full stop. I'm gonna pause after I say this. They called him the Black Dwarf. Pause for a moment.
Yeah, listen, this thing goes way back. This goes way back. Probably, probably a Trump type started that. Really in real life, the brother was, fly, handsome, probably getting gal like mad. if not for the fact that he devoted his life to the savior, he would have been getting gal. But you had to have the haters come around and start doing stupid things like this, saying stupid things like this. But yeah, I come across this before. I've come across this before. Yeah, the Black Dwarf quote. Yeah.
Yeah, and many people will say, "Oh, his enemies were not saying it literally, or it was just metaphorical." And it's like, it's always laughable because I'm gonna I'm gonna bring proof that he was literally a black dwarf. And so this man right here is an English historian by the name of Robert Payne. Brother Trail, I'm not sure if you know about this individual. Do you?
No, I do not. I do not. Quickly though, let me say thank you, Dewey. 13W, I3W. He says, I never knew about the restoration thing. They had me. Yeah, bro. It's- you have to start from a place default distrust. That's what I've learned. Default question everything. They have plausible deniability for everything, and you just got to keep the chip on your shoulder, bro. Otherwise 90% of what I've discovered since doing this is because of the chip on my shoulder. If not for that chip, I wouldn't be digging deep to discover some of the things that I've discovered since starting this channel. But yeah, only people, only us, only we have that chip because the violence is done against us, no one else. So we have to hold that, wear that chip with pride. Bio will try and answer that for you later on. But no, I never came across this individual you're talking about. I don't know him. Don't know him at all. Educate
Yeah.
me.
So basically, he was a historian and wrote many of the autobiographies of people like Joseph Stalin, Adolf, the little mustache man, and many of the events like World War II, the Soviet Union, and so forth. And he also wrote many books about the history of the early church. And so he died in 1983. So he was born in 1911 and died in 83. So and wrote about the accounts of the church fathers. And in 1957, he wrote a book about Saint Athanasius' life called "The Holy Fire: The Story of the Fathers of the Eastern Church." So the Eastern Church is basically, he's referring to the Orthodox churches, like the Greek Orthodox Church, like the Coptic Church, etc.
Right, right. Go
And
on.
so basically, what pulled me was he said in his book. So I'm going to read. I'm going to read what he said. Quote. He's describing Athanasius. This is what his enemies describe Athanasius. He was so small that his enemies called him a dwarf. He had a hook nose, a small mouth, short reddish beard, which turned up at the ends in the Egyptian fashion, and his skin was blackish. I'm going to say it again. The Egyptian fashion, and his skin was blackish. So I'm gonna,
That beard,
you know,
that beard, that's kink, bro. That's kink. When it says it was turned up like that, that's kink. And as for the red, go and look at people in the it comes up. It comes up genetically. It's a mutation, but we have it in the Sahel in West Africa and across, yeah, just across the Sahel. We have it in the east of Africa, and we also have a phenomenon that goes back even into antiquity where I call it fashion, whatever, but they men dyed their beards with henna
mhm.
and to present that reddish look. But what can't be denied is that that description of his hair is kink. I'm I can grow a beard. I'm one of the few well, actually, I'm not one of the few, but I like to think I am. But I growing up, I was one of the few out of my friends who could grow facial hair and grew facial hair quite quick as I was losing it up top. So what happened was I oh I kept trying to groom my beard into a downy fashion, into a downward turning style. Just from the influence of you living in a white space, and but I didn't realize that was almost next to impossible for my hair because white people's hair flows down. It doesn't have that bounce. It doesn't have that pickup to it. Okay, so every time I'm trying to brush my hair so that it droops downwards, and it gives this austere, somber look of some I don't know what I was trying to go for, but as I'm trying to do that, I got really frustrated growing up with that, in my late teens and my early 20s, and it just didn't work till I realized, till I got more mature, and I realized that's just black hair. Black hair. Every time I saw my and as I went to university, and I mixed a bit and mixed with black folk my age and my peers, and I saw, it was a beard gang. There was a massive trend in the mid, I don't know what you call it, 2010s to 2020s. Massive trend of just black folk trying to grow out a big old beard. And for the most of us, for all of us, our beards stuck up, especially round the edges. You couldn't really get it to stay in place. So what he's describing there is just black hair, and then he tells you that he's blackish. He's black. You know. Sorry, I just want to back up what you're saying there. I've not actually read this, but this is very fascinating. RJ, you there? RJ, we can't hear you. Where's he gone? Come on, RJ.
Exactly. It's interesting, you know what I'm saying? So I am not, but I'm not done reading the last part here. So the and it says the Emperor Julian, who was the Roman Empire emperor at that time, called him hardly a man, only a little mannequin. I find that interesting. I find that particularly interesting. So Brother Trill, are
What?
you there?
I'm still here. What does he mean by mannequin? Why do you find that interesting?
I find it interesting because like I said, he his enemies called him the Black Dwarf, and there's something to be said, and this leads up to the next image where I'm thinking of. So first of all, I'm thinking of a pygmy. I think of a pygmy, not to, And when
Right,
it came to
right,
my image,
right.
so this is the god, Egyptian god Bes,
Mm-hmm.
and as we know, God Bes is the god of children and I think youth and stuff like that.
Protection.
And he's depicted as a short black man, right? And here is a modern day image of a pygmy man. And so, and I find it very interesting because there are several illustrations of in Egyptian artwork that depict many individuals of a short stature, if I will say, like
Mm.
this image. Now you got to be cautious with this one. I don't know if this is a fake or anything like that. I found it particularly to be interesting.
What do
I
you
found
mean,
it
the
particularly to be
the image of Beth
interesting.
that you're showing
But
right now?
the
You're
the
saying you
main
don't know if it's a fake.
no the image on the right.
Okay, yeah, 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 yeah. That does look sus. Yeah, it looks sus because
The
it's just
right.
it's got, yeah, it's got hallmarks in the least of major washing. The woman is problematic, massively problematic, but whatever.
Yeah. So, and it's all interesting to hear all these descriptions of all these church fathers and these early saints of their description, because all these descriptions are black features. Just Simple as that. They're all black features. I don't know what else
But
to
what?
say. I don't know what to say.
But what's more, RJ? What's more is that even if you say like some like listen to this fool, right? Let me show you this fool. She constantly comes on the channel. I'll just
Mm,
present this quickly. She's constantly on the channel.
yeah.
Okay. I think she got her oh sack it her ass. She got it handed to her. Okay. Nasty, nasty, nasty. You don't want to be thinking about. Right. She got it handed to her in a. She tried to come and say something stupid a while back. She thought she was dealing with some noob, and turns out she wasn't. If it's even a woman I'm dealing with, you're gonna present back. I hope, but I'll just show this. And the thing is, what I don't understand is what I don't understand is why it bothers people so much that we're out here doing this. Okay, because this woman came on a video ages ago. If she is a woman, and not a bot or a man pretending to be a woman, you know how freaky they get. Um, and she came on a video about Moors, and she was talking about a load of nonsense, and I just gave her like receipts. I redirected her back to um I think it was an interview. I did an interview with Onya Kanubia. Onya Kanubia is a professor. He comes with receipts every time he speaks. He comes with receipts. This woman tried to come in and say just nitpick on some stupid tertiary issue to try and take away, detract from almost 2 hours of straight facts and receipts. Okay. And it wasn't working. I did not let her, I did not let it slide. I embarrassed her in the comments. Ever since then, ever since then, she's on this channel. And the worst thing, the worst thing is that she doesn't come with any substance. She's desperately looking to find, she never really attacks the substance of the videos I produce and the research. She always comes with some kind of mistake that I've made, almost as if that invalidates an hour
Hmm.
here, half an hour video here. And this is her latest nonsensical thing that she did, her nonsensical stunt that she pulled on the channel. She said this. Check this foolishness out. So I present, I say, look, disgusting. In 2020, Creative Assembly Sophia and Sega released a game titled Total War Saga Troy. The game was notable to many due to its inclusion of a black character in the representation of ancient Greek lore. Many were quick to laud the game developers, not just for their inclusion, but historical accuracy, portraying Memnon as he was portrayed in Greek mythology, the black son of Zeus, king of the land of the blacks. Just one problem, right? I don't know why I made that mistake, but I did. I did. I called him the black son of Zeus, but it's a mistake. In the Greek mythology, he's the son of Eos. And Eos is woman who, it's all weird, really it's all Nephilim law. If you know, you know, but who sleeps with the sun or something, and they produce Memnon, whatever. Okay, but I said Zeus. Just one problem. Images 1 and 2 is what the game decided to portray his army as. So basically, I'm showing that look, that there's a video game. It talks about Memnon. Everybody knows Memnon is the mythical king of Ethiopia. That I even quoted from Greek texts calling Memnon, quote, post America, circa 4th to 3rd century BC. Memnon, the warrior king, brought with him a countless host of black Ethiopians. From all the streets of Troy, the Trojans flocked, glad-eyed to gaze on him. That's in my latest video. If you're listening right now and you've not checked out that latest video, you're a muppet. Unmuppet yourself by clicking off this video immediately this live finishes, you can unmuppet yourself and redeem yourself by clicking and going over to watch that video. But until then, you remain a muppet. Sorry. Was there endless outrage in the media? Was there endless outrage in the media? This is what I'm writing on the post. Was there endless outrage in the media about this game that purports to show Memnon, the king of Ethiopia, with a black army, but instead, when it presents the black army, this is what the army looks like. This is what the army looks like. Okay. Was there endless outrage in the media? Were black faces in the news wall to wall decrying the erasure of black presence in history? Did black people the world over feel attacked and clutch to their self-comforting narratives of black replacement? No, no, and no. Those of us in the know saw the disrespect and moved on. Why? Because we're used to it. Because we are the most resilient people on earth in the face of lies and defamation. We are. We smile and laugh when we ought to be crying. We do. We break our backs while others spread out the tablecloth over us and call us lazy. And we keep moving even when the road ahead is laced with mines. Meanwhile, the other side continue to destroy the world, and they do, steal our history, and plunder our resources the world over. Okay? All while claiming that they are under attack the most. Okay, they're telling us constantly that there's climate change and we need to suit up or boot up and, suit up and boot up whilst they're building data centers everywhere that's consuming trillions of gallons of water, driving yachts everywhere, okay, owning whole islands that consume more energy for their graping and their weird freakiness with miners, okay, that consume more energy than whole African villages do. Okay, whilst they talk to us about climate change constantly and tell us to live like peasants. Okay, steal our history, plunder our resources, all while claiming that they are under attack the most. If Karen were a people and Becky were a civilization, ... you know. Okay, so images 3 to 5, what Memnon and his army would have really have looked like. And I go on to promote the video. This woman comes in out of all I've said. this is a demonic character here. She comes in. I don't really want to read her name because it's insignificant. Memnon. Sorry, I shouldn't. What kind of voice would suit? Memnon is never described in Greek mythology as the son of Zeus. Memnon in Greek mythology is actually the son of King Tithonus and Eos, the goddess of dawn. Do you know what? Good for you. You can read Wikipedia. That's all that proves. You can read Wikipedia. And I get petty and I said, nobody cares, Jenny, not even you. Right? The rest is history. You can go and check out that little exchange. She goes, au contraire, you apparently do, hence your response. Yeah, that's very clever too. But she's on here constantly. For the most part, I ignore her. Why have I gone into this? I've gone into this because, as you were saying, RJ, let's add you back to stage. Unmute yourself, bro, and present your thing again. I don't even know why I've gone into this, but I've gone into it because what was your you're talking about Bess, right? So even if okay, you're saying to me that the image of Bess doesn't the description and the image of Bess, all of that doesn't conclusively prove that Saint Athanasius was a black man as we know black today. It is a million. You're still a nitpicking prick. Okay, excuse my French. Okay, and you know why you're nitpicking, because guess what? The popular images we have today, whenever these saints are put up on TV, you talked about media earlier, whenever these figures are presented in documentaries, in film, in media, is a million miles away from these descriptions. We all want to be historically accurate until the earliest descriptions for these people are too uncomfortably close to black Africans. That's when we pretend we never saw those descriptions, and then we show you a picture of Russell Brand, and we say that's
Exactly.
that's accurate. That's Jesus for you. We all want to be accurate up until we come across these sources. Then we say, well, it's not a black person. Yeah, but even if it's not a black person, what you're showing, the popular image, is further removed from these descriptions than a black person would be. Idiot. Sorry, go on, RJ.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right, brother. It's like they cry, and there's again the Angelica mentality. It's like you want something, but when we give you something, then you complain and whine about it, right? It's like you want accuracy, so okay, I'll give you accuracy. Here's the accuracy. Then you cry, oh, it's not good enough. I was like, how is not accurate enough can you be?
Yeah.
Like we're going as deep
Then
into
you
history as
nitpick.
we can, right?
Then you
And
start to nitpick.
exactly. Then you start to nitpick. Then you start to sulk and cry and say, oh, this is why black people, everything is so woke, everything is so far left, oh, and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, okay, okay, clearly you don't want true history. You want the history that sees yourself in it. That's what you want. That's what you want, right? And so, and this is it's so crazy. It particularly, and I have to address this. And brother Chell, because you're also a Christian and we're both black men here, we can address this together. Is I get sick and tired of some of these white, particularly these white evangelicals, say, oh, it does not matter what color Christ is or what John was or what Moses was, but because what only matters is that they fought for God, they fought for the truth, and they called out evil. Okay, but so if it doesn't matter, let's have a movie. Let's make a movie of a black man who has of a man who has like an actor who has dreads. Let's make a Jesus who has dreads, dreadlocks or locks, and who looks like an Ethiopian, looks like a Oromo, looks like an Afar or a Somali person, or who looks like a black Palestinian, because there are black Palestinians in the land of Palestine right now, as we're speaking, right? So let's do that. But but no, wait, but they're gonna say no because that's not truly what they look like, and it's like, so you really showed your true colors. I get sick and tired about when I hear
But
white
but you but
evangelicals say that. What? Go ahead, brother. Do you want to say something?
you know what's hypocritical about that? And this is the thing. Um, I need to start challenging more people in real time because I come across some of these folks in real life, and I need to start. I'm a bit. I'm letting too many people off the hook. The problem with that is because I've heard it in real time. I've heard people say that to me to the face, to my face, and I let it slide. I come up with some BS diplomatic response because I don't want to cause any. I don't want to cause anyone to feel awkward. But really, you really believe that tripe? Oh, it doesn't matter what color Jesus was, and do you know what? I actually agree, but you're the one who actually doesn't agree with that. You're the person who's saying that is the person who's a hypocrite, because why all of a sudden do you feel the need to make that statement when the original image of Jesus, okay, was changed into an image that looked more like yourself by people that looked like yourself. So now that people are wanting to be more accurate in 2026 and are talking about what he actually looked like, now all of a sudden Jesus, it doesn't really matter. It's divisive. Well, calling me, surprised, calling me incredulous, but that doesn't ring true because if it didn't matter, it never would have been changed. It never would have changed. And till now, and if it didn't matter, whenever you present storybooks, okay, whenever you buy your kids storybooks, okay, and whenever you see a black Jesus represented somewhere, it wouldn't make you feel somehow. It wouldn't make you feel like, oh, there's a political message in that, because I know you do. I know even I do. I see. I don't know. I see the odd black blackish or black presenting representation of the Lord Jesus Christ on a church somewhere, typically somewhere in America, in the Bronx, Baptist, and woke, woke when it's home, um, woke Baptist church when it's at home. Sorry, woke when it's at home. Woke Baptist church presenting a more accurate depiction of Jesus is typically in America. Okay. And even when you see that, you kind of feel like, oh, okay, let's tone it down there, bro. Let's tone it down there. Let's all be. But no, no, they're in the right, because you change the image. You change the image, and in changing the image, now you have a sense of self and a sense of entitlement that you've never checked. You've never checked it in yourself. So you that entitlement feels like a moral high ground to you. Oh, well, let's not be divisive. Let's not, Jesus is for everybody. Yeah, he is for everybody. So why did you change him? Why did you change what he looked like? Why did your ancestors change him to some effeminate looking weirdo from Holland or Denmark or Norway? Why? Sorry, go on, go on. It's completely disingenuous, RJ.
It is, and it's like, and this leads me to the next this, and it comes from the period of the Renaissance era, this time in European history, where we start seeing more of the power of the Catholic Church, and so many of the artworks, like from Leonardo and like Raphael and all these painters, you know, and depicting these depictions of Christ and Mary and all the saints of the early church and so forth. And keep in mind as well, we have to keep in mind as well, as the Renaissance was going on, like the Spanish, the Portuguese, particularly these two nations were conquering the Americas. And so, what did the Catholic Church need to do in order to say, "Hey, we are in charge. We can authority"? What did they do? Is, as we said, the whitewashing. They had tons of whitewashed images from the medieval era. So there was like, oh, here we go. So they showed the peoples of Mexico, the peoples of the Caribbean, the peoples of Africa, India, these images right here, as you see on the screen, and say, yeah, Jesus looks like us. Mary looks like us. The angels, even the angels, look like white individuals, and it's crazy because angels are spirits, so there's no color in angels. And
but every time you see one, every time they show you one,
many people when
sorry, RJ, but every time they show you one, he looks like Thor. But we're all one in Christ. We're all one in Christ, and there's no division. But every time I happen to draw an angel, he has to be white. He has to have blonde to brunette hair, and blue eyes. But if you should draw an angel that looks like the description of Jesus in Revelation, you're being political, bro. We don't need that. We don't need that here. We don't need that. Come on, put that Black Power stuff away.
Exactly, and it's so sad too. A couple months ago, I came across this video. I think it was either on YouTube or Instagram, one of the two. And it was a woman who was selling food in Nigeria. This was some market in Nigeria somewhere. And this woman was describing a dream she had, a dream that she saw of Jesus. And so this person who's asking the question, what did Jesus look like on the street? This was like a small interview, street interview. The woman said, yeah, he looked white, and the person interviewing, he sounded like a white man. Like the white interviewer was so shocked. He's like, wait, a white man? And the black woman was like, yeah, like he was a white woman. Sorry, not a white woman, a white man with long hair, and blue eyes, and I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, at that point, brother Trail, I didn't know what to do. I was like I felt like a loss of brain cell after seeing that. Like, that's how damaging a white image of Christ looks like, does to people of a darker hue. And then you don't tell them that Christ likely look like you, dark skin and a curly hair. You know,
And then they
it's
freak out.
very heartbreaking.
Freak out.
Even to, and they freak out. And they freak out when you stand your ground and say, hey, yeah, Christ looked like me. He looked like the Ethiopian or Somalian person down the street. They freak out, even to an extent. And this is the saddest thing now that I've seen, because I live near a Coptic church. And so I go to the Coptic church for liturgy, for service, and all I see, I look around, like, this is supposed to be a Egyptian church, and all I see is white images of Christ, the disciples, Mary, the angels, even the saints from Egypt themselves are white. The only saint that has not been whitewashed was Saint Moses, the Ethiopian. That's the only saint that has not been whitewashed. And it was like, I was like, what world am I living in where everyone's just white? Like, white disciples of Christ looking down on me. Like, white angels looking at me. It's like, it's just crazy. It's just absolutely crazy. You got anything?
No, I'm thinking to myself, thank you, Dewey I3W. Great to see people support. You from the UK, bro? He says, look up Elm Guest House on Wikipedia or the Finder's Cult. You'll realize there's more to this world, which I guess is secret society. Bro, I struggle to keep this channel going down very fast, very quickly down some avenues. But enough said, I know exactly what you're talking about. I've heard of the Finder's Cult. But I do you know, I'm more clued up than I might let on sometimes. Might have to create another channel in the future, completely unrelated to this one, where people might not even know that it's me in charge of that channel, and I might disguise my voice somehow. But yeah, thank you for the super chat, the $5 super chat. Yeah, I got nothing, bro. I'm just mesmerized by what you're saying. Next slide.
Yeah, so this is the last one I have, images that I have from my internet. So
Okay, cool.
I have some, I could pull up some more, but as for the slides, this is it,
Okay, cool.
It's just crazy to me,
Pull up some more, and also get your charger, because I can see that down below there that the charger might not hold up. The battery might not hold up for much longer.
Oh, you see my thing. You see my thing Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So let me just
What's the saint, RJ? Which saint most surprised
close.
you?
Try to
The
just
whitewashing of which saint
quickly
that you've discovered has most shocked you, RJ,
pull up some images.
when you get the question. You there? Mr. Mackenzie, you there? We still pull through, so suck on that, Illuminati. Eh? We still pull through, still got it done. All right, we'll wait for RJ to get back. Yeah, Dewey, it is scary, it is spooky. Um, and I have heard Peter Thiel talking about the AC. I have heard him talking about the AC. He's trying to distract. He's trying to deflect, bro. Because the AC is none other than the man in the Oval Office, the Oval Orifice, should I say. The AC is none other than the man in the Oval Orifice, and he will soon reveal himself. You probably think I'm joking. That's why people got to people have to I don't know if I want to go there tonight. I don't know if I want to go there tonight. I mean, I could. Come on, RJ, let's get you back in there. Mo War says modern day Arabs are a mixture of Persians and Horners. There are still tribes of Persian and Indian ancestry in Somalia. Thank you for that. Thank you for that, bro. But yeah, I could go there. Whilst we wait for RJ, I might have to go there for a price. For a price, drop a super chat. Drop a super chat, and I might go there. I don't want to get my channel banned, but I could be persuaded. I could be persuaded, but come on, RJ, let's go, let's go, let's go. I mean, if I'm gonna go there and risk my channel, make it worth my while. Make it worth my while. Okay, RJ Mackenzie, are you there? I want to know which saint. I want to know which saint. Um, the whitewashing of which has most shocked you. For me, it is Augustine. For me, it's Augustine. Bio says exactly trill. Now I like my ego massage. So I'm not gonna lie. But what are you talking about there when you say exactly trill? What am I speaking facts on? There we go. RJ's back. What am I speaking facts on? RJ, you here? You here?
Okay. Hello.
Hello, Mr. Mackenzie. I was asking you, which saints then in your research? and you might want to present your screen again to show some of the other stuff you found. In your research, which saint has the whitewashing of which saint has most surprised you? Which saint have you come across and thought, I cannot believe that I cannot believe what I'm looking at?
The most saint that I can't believe that got the most whitewashing. It's actually two actually. It was Augustine and Athanasius. And
Right.
the reason for those two is because of their vivid description. Athanasius, how he was like explicitly called the Black Dwarf. Like that should like that should like surprise, that should go, like you should go bizarre over that. Like it's right in your face. Like his enemies described him right in his face, and they saw what he looked like. So it's not like they were like blind or something, colorblind or something. Like they saw who they saw, right? And even with the description I read of how he was blackish, even in his small stature, that was like, that clicked in me. It was like, oh, that's a pygmy. Someone from of small stature, that's a pygmy individual. I know, right? Like, how clear is that?
Let's call it vertically challenged. You know, shout out to the pygmies. You know,
exactly. Yeah, so shout out to them. Unfortunately, colonialism has put these awful, disgusting terms on people. Like, shout out to you, brothers and sisters. Yeah, I know. Shout out to you. Goodness. But yeah, that surprised me, the amount of whitewashing that has occurred, even into the Byzantine era. Like, that really caught me surprised. Like, the amount of, not the Renaissance, not the medieval era, I'm talking about the Byzantine era. And that is not that far from like the 1st to 2nd century. So I find that very particular.
What I would like to get to the bottom of, RJ, is the images of the Black Madonna. What I would like at some point, if I had time, is to get to the bottom of why, again and again, these Black Madonnas and the black infant Jesus kept showing up in the early stages of the church's history, especially in Eastern Europe. You know, what was that all about? You know, that's why I want to know. I don't know if you've done if you looked into that.
So basically, I haven't really looked into this too much myself. I gotta look more into this. But basically, I guess in eastern parts of Europe, like blackness was seen as a sign of beauty, and it's something to like revere. I'm not 200% sure. I gotta look into this, but a common claim, and I heard this common silly argument I heard is that, oh, the Black Madonnas, like in Poland. Let me pull up something right now. Just give me a second. Okay.
Good evening, Macy. Good evening to you. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah. So basically, yeah. Good evening, everybody, and shout out to everyone in the chat. Apologies for me going in and out. It's this internet problem that I have. So yeah,
You got something
apologies
on screen,
everybody.
RJ?
Yeah, yeah, I'm pulling it up right now.
Okay.
I'm pulling it up right now.
Yeah, look at this guy. Look at this scumbag. Look at this scumbag. A man's just died. A man's just died, and you still fixing your mouth. You still fixing your mouth to talk absolute trash. A man who was exonerated, who was vindicated. No plagiarism. Meanwhile, you got pedophiles. See, they made me say it, man. You got
So
PDF files in your culture. You got
the image that you're looking at here on the screen. Can you
we
see my
can't
screen
see it.
though?
No, we can't see it. So present it to me, and then I'll let it go I'll let it go on screen. I can't see it.
In Poland, Częstochowa. And basically, this is the most popular and most well revered image in the whole country, in the
I j- uh, oh my goodness. Yeah, sorry, chat. Whilst I was waiting on RJ, I was just reading like a comment from a disgusting, wretched thing. I don't know if he's a human. He's not a human being. I don't know if he's a creature. Um, but he's certainly a thing. Talking about someone who's just deceased, who was hounded to commit suicide for nothing other than that he was a black man, a professor at one of the highest institutions in our country here in the United Kingdom. Meanwhile, they claim that it was because he lied on his curriculum vitae, on his resume,
okay.
and that he was this and that. Meanwhile, in the very same university, you have convicted. I don't care. I actually don't care anymore to censor. Pedophiles are in Cambridge right now with professorships. White men are in positions of academia right now, and this disgusting country and group of people in this country across the world who think that going around and harassing a man for what? For what? For what? Because apparently he said something in his CV that they don't believe to be true. And in the same university, they have people who are disseminating images of prepubescent children, hmm? Disseminating them, and are calling themselves professor of French medieval history. And this, we have a sexual abuser, uh, somebody who has been allegedly um, assaulting women in university. He's the head of history at Cambridge right now. I don't know. Actually, he might not be the head of history, but he's a history professor at Cambridge right now. Go and look him up. Man called William O'Reilly, plagiarist. Plagiarist, confirmed, not alleged anymore. Plagiarist, head of history. No story, nothing to be heard. Because why? Why would there be anything to hear? Why would there be any story? He's not black. He's not a black person who's risen above the station that we've decided that he's to stay for the rest of his life, and his kind of to stay for the rest of his life. So there's no story there. There's no story there. A sick society. They think this. It's got to calm down. It's got to calm down. It's got to calm down. This whole paradigm that we're in. Um, this whole paradigm that we're in. We call it white supremacy. It's not white supremacy. It's white inferiority. White inferiority. That's what it is. It's really white inferiority. You're scared. You've always been scared to compete on a level playing field. That's why you're raped and you're murdered and you trashed half the world and told lies about them because you got little members, haven't you? That's why you wrote 1,000 tomes about other people's members and tried to dissect them and make up theories as to why your members are insignificant. Make up all kinds of theories about IQ and BS because you can't hack it until you discover the gun. Oh, all your Christmases came at once. Came at once when you discovered the gun and you stole that from China as well. That's really when you thought, okay, game on, you cowards. But it's all coming crashing. It's all coming down very soon. Very, very soon. Sick. A sick, hypocritical people talking about coming in my comments and saying he was a fraud. Jason Arde was a fraud. End of. Cambridge has ruined an age-old reputation. What reputation? Of pedophiles. Of pedophiles. RJ, come on, let's go. Let's go.
Hello. Okay, let's try this again, brother. Oh man, you went on a rant there.
I don't care anymore. Come on, man.
Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. Okay. Oh. Okay. Okay. Do you see my screen?
No, I still can't see it. Quick, let's fix this before they start talking about IQ. Before they start talking about IQ, hey, I can't see anything, bro.
I
can't
my
see
thing
anything in the
my
comments.
thing is saying I can't access your screen. The browser can't access my screen. Oh no.
Okay, I don't know why that would be. So when you hit present, when you click on present, what does it say?
So when I click on present, it says like share screen, which I clicked. And it says share screen. So and then it takes me to these 3 tabs. And I'm trying to select one, but I don't know why.
Which one is it a window you're trying to share or is it a document?
Now I got it.
Okay, good. There we go.
Yay!
Thank you. All right, let me add that to stage. There we go. Good.
Yay.
Oh, I can see that.
We did it. Okay, thank God. So basically, everybody, what you're looking at here is an image of the Black Madonna, Czestochowa. It's in Polish, so I can't. Sorry if I'm butchering it. So basically, it's in a Polish town, Czestochowa, and it's in a monastery. And this is the most revered image of Mary and Christ, the infant Christ, that is holds sacred in Catholicism. We don't know exactly when this painting was made and who made it. People have said that it was Luke. I'm talking about the person who wrote the Gospel of Luke. Made this image. That could be just a legend. We don't know. But what we do know is that obviously this is a Black woman. This is a Black woman and a Black child.
Definitely.
Exactly, right? And I want to bring something very striking to this image. I'm going to pull up another image here. I'm going to pull up another image. And cuts. Do you see where my arrow's pointing at, Trill?
Yep, 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 yep. Okay.
Okay. So this image went through a very drastic
Mm.
attack. So back when Poland was being invaded by a group of Protestants, so we have to keep in mind that after Martin Luther and the whole Reformation, there are certain groups in Europe that were attacking or in like destroying black images of churches, monasteries. They were going after everything because it was considered idolatrous, right?
Yeah.
And so one in like I don't know the year, but it was during that particular era in that history where a group of Protestants went into the monastery where this image was originally kept, and one of them drew out their sword and drew and like hit the image twice. So the first hit to the image, nothing happened. But when the second time this individual hit the image with their sword, he got seized with agony and died instantly. This is what I heard.
Right, right.
And so this is a particularly a special image for many of the Polish people. And
Mm.
a common argument, and this is what I said before I got the internet started to do its thing. I said the common silly argument I heard is that this image or other images of the Black Madonna are not truly black because of the amount of candles that darken the image over time, because there are a lot of candles and incense all around this image, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And if that was the case, how come I don't see no white sparks here and there? I don't see any. Do you,
Well,
Brother Trill?
well, no, I don't. Why isn't the whole image? Why is it just why is it just the face that the candle soot attacked or affected?
Exactly.
It's just
Exactly.
ridiculous.
How come just the face? How come not the hands, the hair on Jesus? Like
That's it's completely
like
ridiculous.
how
It's the
come I
first.
don't it's ridiculous, right?
Yeah, the high IQ folks strike again with their BS. You know.
Exactly. 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 And let me tell you why, and why this image is more. And there's a connection with this image and with Haiti. This is where it gets interesting. So during the Haitian Revolution, um, because of the revolt of the blacks in Haiti, Napoleon got mad, and he sent countless of thousands of black troops um to Haiti to put down that rebellion in Haiti, that revolution. And he also sent no, not black, sorry, Polish soldiers in the army to go to Haiti and join in and help stop that rebellion, right? And surprised what happened is that when the Polish came, because the Polish are Catholic, they started to they worship this image. And what the Haitians realized is that this is a black woman. Clearly, it's a black woman. And what they did is that they had in what they remembered from if you go by the whole the transatlantic slave trade, because I know there's some individuals, like I know of an individual on Instagram, shout out to Brother Craig, who has his views on the slave trade, but we're not here for that. So when the Haitians, the black Haitians saw this image, they realized of their ancient African deities, and they decided to incorporate this image into their worship, into like Catholic worship, into like syncretic Afro Haitian religions and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah,
So this is in Haiti. This is a popular image in Haiti, right? The Black Madonna. I know it's quite controversial what it said on below, but I'm particularly showing the image. It's not like
yeah,
below, but it's the image. So as you can see, even the Haitians realize that, or that image I showed you from Poland, that's a black woman. They
yeah,
didn't see no
yeah.
white person, and there's no black
No,
soot.
yeah. They knew what they were looking at, and everybody
So,
knows. Everybody knew what they were looking at. Everybody knew what they were looking at. So it's the 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 levels of gaslighting um that modern intellectual thought has reached and perpetrated on um discussions like this. It cannot be. It can't be overstated. It can only be understated. It can't be overstated. The levels of warpage of history and of facts is ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. RJ, you've been an amazing guest. I hope to have you back on soon again. Maybe we'll do a part two of this, or maybe we'll touch on something else. I know you got lots in there in your bag of tricks, so we might have to make it something completely different. But this has been an amazing discussion. I feel good after my little rant there. I feel like I feel like I let off some steam. I'm calm now. I'm sober. Um, you ever feel like that? You ever feel like that, RJ? Like something's not quite right, and then
brother,
you know,
brother,
you know.
brother, there are moments where, for me, where I need a good shout. I need a good rant.
Yeah,
Especially sadly what's going on in the UK. Prayers for our
yeah,
brother. Prayers for him, because
yeah, yeah.
it's
Hopefully,
real, man. It's real.
yeah. They killed the man. They killed the man. I mean, people coming on, people like this fool. Let me just. I don't want to give it any light. Just coming on. It's just whilst you were don't know what it was I was waiting on. Whilst you were waiting on you to present there, I was looking at my comments and just seeing that even now people are still lying on a dead man's name. Okay, okay, right. Let's not say lying. Let's not say lying, but piling on. Because yeah, okay, the jury's still out. He said some things that might not have been true in his CV, but is that where we're at? Hounding black people, hounding and only black people, because they lied on their CV. When lying on your CV at this stage, I've never done it, and I'm not saying that to be self-righteous. I've never done it, but I know that it's a culture. I know that it's a culture. I know people who have told me to lie on my resume, um, embellish the truth here and there, and I've always said no. It's a culture. It's a thing that people do. They exaggerate their achievements on their resume, knowing that it will never be uh, dug into, and they just keep it moving. So, but where we're at in 2026 now is hunting down people who might have embellished their resumes, and only if they're black, and only if they're in positions of power that make us as white folk and indigenous Anglo-Saxons feel insecure. Only those people. Yeah, that's who we'll talk about for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month in the news constantly. Huh? That's what we're doing now. That's
Hmm.
that's how that's how that's that's how that's how lofty our pedestals have become, huh?
Yeah,
It's just
man.
it's just disgraceful. It's just
Yeah, we have
disgraceful.
to. we have to stay alert and and just be on guard. We have to be on guard and just and yeah we honestly we have to just be on guard, and stay on top of things. But yeah, brother Trill, it was a pleasure being on here, being your guest and talking about these things, because you were talking about the Gekla and like St. George and St. Maurice, and so I was thinking, you know what? Let me just do something about dedicate to Black Saints entirely. We gotta give credit to where credit is due and show everybody, that yeah, Christianity is not a European religion.
No,
It's
it's
not.
not.
It's very melanated, right?
Yeah.
And I will say this too. Don't be ashamed. And I always like to say this whenever I would like do GatCon, right? I think in the chat, I think because I came in late, I mentioned that I called him like the medieval ancestor. The reason I say ancestor is because I like to reclaim these figures that were lost from time, reclaim them of who they were, respect them like where they were born, but they were also black individuals and they're part of black history, right? And so don't be ashamed, everybody, to say, oh, um, ancestor Athanasius or ancestor Augustine. I will say that. I will. I will say that.
You're a class act, RJ. I normally speak behind backstage with people at the end of the live, but it's late here. I will chat to you tomorrow. Um, so yeah, we're just gonna end the conversation here, and I'll say one more time. It's been a privilege. So thank you, RJ. Come again. Please do come again. We'll organize something again very soon in the near future. Chat, everyone who's been listening and who will listen. I hope you've been informed and educated, and I've had a blast and have had a good time. Till the next time, the next one, it's been your boy Trill Black with brother RJ, Mr. Mackenzie, from Kush all the way to Compton and back again. No doubt. Peace.
Bye, everybody.